Welcome to the United States of America podcast. I am Neethi Bali, and we are broadcasting live here from the Food Church on North Carolina. If you've missed past episodes, please be sure to take the time to watch the first episode and then watch the rest like a documentary, okay? We are a people at peace, and we have declared peace to all nations around the world. This is not a marketing or a promotional channel. We're shining a light on knowledge that is being hidden from you, and we are sharing the truth about your birthright and your inheritance. We have moderators who are assisting in the comment section. Be kind and self-govern. And if you have any questions, please put them in all caps and only enter them once per show. I am joined on air today with a real all-American plumber. And I would like to welcome Chad Morgan. Thank you, Chad, for joining me this afternoon.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Hey, listen, friends, Chad is a true American who, I called him at the last second because our original guy actually isn't feeling very well today. But I want to talk to all the tradesmen on America, and especially the real Americans who are able to operate courageously, freely, like the living men, and not under any of the corporate permissions. And so everyone out there, I want you to get ready and take note, because I'm starting this new series, and I want to know anyone that is out there like Chad who has courage and who is operating in their trade unincorporated. And with that, Chad, this is all about you today. I want to know everything about what you're doing. I want us to share everything with everyone. This is, we're here to teach and grow all Americans and bring people home and let them know what it actually is to be a real American and work, here on the land and soil, free and, just without any. I'm not going to say that we don't have any challenges. You have to be knowledgeable. But for you to be able to walk in your full knowing, isn't it a relief, Chad?
Oh man, I have so much less stress now. I'm free. I'm an American. I don't have all these entanglements with banks and with all these corporations that just cause me nothing but headache, and I just get so pissed off every time I would think about the state tax commission or the Department of Labor, this agency or that agency. I don't worry about it anymore. I focus on doing what I do best, and that's plumbing. And I've been doing it for 25 years. I'm the boss here. When I first unincorporated, I had about 18 or 19 guys working for me at that time. So we had a pretty good operation here in Idaho Falls, and that was pre-COVID, and we've kind of wound things down. I was at a point in my life where I was ready to kind of start slowing down and backing off anyway. So right. I've got 2 service trucks that I run now currently, but we do it completely in the private. We have no contracts with the state of Idaho, the corporations. We've done all of our work, followed Alabama's teachings as far as how to get away from that system, and we're just plowing ahead, doing it the American way. We're doing it as we go. This hasn't been done in my lifetime. So
over 200 years. I mean, listen, we this is the thing I think that a lot of folks don't really fully comprehend is that there isn't a book to run a business. There's no actual SOP for real people doing real things because we're in the moment and we're operating in life where things are living.
right,
And things are shifting and moving and changing all the time. And the beauty of the living men is that guess what? We can pivot.
right.
I mean, you just did it today. Thank you. We praise you here for but we can do things on the minute because we're alive.
Right. Living in the moment. Now is only what matters, is what's right here, right now, right in front of you.
And it's so much more rewarding, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very powerful, you guys. Y'all, this is so powerful, and this is the something that I've enjoyed, and I haven't had anyone to talk about it with. You're the first one. You're the first one I've been able to talk to about it. To be fully unincorporated, because a lot of my homesteader friends, like I got a lot of rogue food friends,
Yeah.
who try to finesse the system, but they can't even hear anything I'm saying to them about literally unincorporating, escaping the tax fraud and all this other great fraud. And that's a kind of it's a very next level thing because all they're still trying to do is to get around the regulations. And so it's really important for men. I think that being a man, you know this better than me. Okay. I don't claim to know this as a man, but in my observation in working with men, you got to show them the money. You got to show them where the rubber meets the road. You got to show the man how to do the thing, like get them on the path. And they want to be able to see and hear and feel the thing. They don't want to wonder and imagine and foresee and daydream. I mean, I think men like to daydream a little bit, but not really. Women are the ones who are daydreaming and feeding that to the men, and then the men just make it happen because y'all are solving it and creating it and launching it and creating a path and burning and blazing the trail.
Right.
Wow. How did you feel? And were you okay? Question number one: Were you licensed before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How did you find the courage to be like, to say, okay, I have, how many, you said 14, 17 guys that you had?
When I unincorporated, I think I had 17 guys working for me at that time.
That's a lot of responsibility, Chad. I got people who rely on me, okay? And right. I know that it is no small thing to just be like, look, friends, I'm going out there. I'm going to do the thing.
Right.
When their livelihoods are in your hands, right? So how did you do that?
Well, every morning on Friday, I paid on a weekly basis on Friday. I wake up and I would cook breakfast and potatoes and bacon and eggs and everything. And everybody shows up to the office, or the shop, and we have breakfast on Friday, and Friday's payday. And I made the announcement after I found Anna, and I had spent probably a good year studying Anna's material and going through the process. And I did my first 1779 document, and I started to go through the process. And then when I got to the point where, okay, I'm going to do all my 928s and unincorporate my business, I made that announcement at breakfast, and I gave everybody, and I had been talking about it with all the guys that worked for me at the time. and I brought all the information forward to the whole crew. This is what I found. This is what I'm doing, and either you're going to be a part of it, or our frequencies will force us to separate ways, because I'm done with the bullshit. I'm done with the lies, and I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. And for those of you that are willing to continue to pay taxes and do all these things and be a slave, I'm not going to force you, but I am going to give you an avenue out, and I'm willing to plow the way forward. And so we corrected almost everybody's status that was working for me at the time. So we corrected everybody's status and started that process of closing down the corporation. We noticed the Secretary of State on Idaho that we were dissolving our corporation. You know, and I've been in business, I've been incorporated on Idaho since 2004. So they really liked getting those checks from me, you know, the state tax commission and everybody. So, but we unincorporated, and I made a private membership agreement. Anna had talked about the Sovereign's Way. And so I got on the Sovereign's Way website, and I read their membership agreement that they had, and that he said that anything on his page was available to use, but you have to be responsible for your own decisions and your own choices, what you do with that information. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to use his membership as a template for me to make one similar. And then I had my Justice, Dustin Bergman, go over the wording that I used and the changes that I made, and we kind of tossed it back and forth until we agreed that this was a sufficient membership agreement that should, you know, serve the purpose it was intended for.
That's interesting. I did a very similar thing to what you just said, Chad.
Yeah.
And I took the Sovereign's Way agreement, and I put it on as a policy for my business. It's in the legal description of my business online.
Right.
And I don't have anybody sign anything, because if we exchange a dollar,
right,
like any amount of money, if they join, so like I have a membership fee, and that it's kind of different because I don't actually have margins. What I'm doing is literally not for profit, because I'm just supporting and growing regenerative farmers.
Right.
And so it's their money. It's not actually mine. And it's their margins, not mine. But I'm bringing all the people together, and I'm creating a space for them to operate so that they don't have to use the processor. They can do all the things that they need to do on their own, like real Americans do, using their own hands and you know, doing all the work, right?
Yeah.
So they have the options to maybe use a processor or not, but instead of having them actually sign agreements, if they give me a penny, it's a confirmation, it's an exchange. They have to give me their word. I tell them, like, Americans, we operate like word is bond. And so I operate in honor. I expect you to operate in honor. And, you know, we have a policy, and here it is. If you decide you don't want to do it anymore, then just tell us you don't and bye, you know. And I mean, look, you have a different business than I do, but I just am putting it out there for anybody, because they can take that agreement, and I do appreciate so much that they've shared it with everyone and shared it with us, so that we can do that. And I think that for all of our various trade models, it would be really wonderful for us to be able to share them. If you don't mind me sharing yours, I'd love to be able to share it on my Telegram for anybody who wants to look at it later. Yeah. But I'll let you go ahead and continue to tell us, because, okay, so walk us through how this goes. First of all, can we go back a little bit to your guys? Because I think this is a very big deal. Number one, I know that you said that you downgraded. I have a question. Did you do that just because you realize you don't have to make as much money anymore, because you were doing it a different way, or did you do it because I mean, you said you were trying to wind things down, but you don't look old to me. You look like a very young, hip guy. I don't really know you. I just met you, Chad, and so I don't have any presumptions about you, but I believe that you look like you're going to live for a long time. I don't think you're about to, fall apart tomorrow or something. And I feel like I don't imagine that you're going to ever stop being enterprising, because you don't look like one of those guys that's just going to go sit down and not get up and do something. So
No. So let's go back to the guys. So there's other reasons that I was downgrading too. So I was in a relationship for 15 years with an alcoholic woman. And we had two young kids. We had two young kids together, and they were I had went through a divorce, but she also passed away from alcoholism. Okay.
Oh,
So
I'm so sorry.
I was a dad with young kids, 5 and 6 years old, and their mom had passed away from alcoholism, and that last year was really difficult because she kind of losing her mind from her liver failure. Anyway, so and I had all these guys working for me, and I had made a lot of we've done well over the years, and so it's not like I needed to continue to push myself so hard, and I wanted to be there for my kids, and so I was looking at scaling back and just having a few trucks running and spending more time with my kids. But at the same time, God blessed me with meeting my current wife during this time period, and that was Jamie that you've seen before we were getting set up for the show. And she's actually a state recording secretary on Idaho. So, the
universe surprises us and delights us in ways that we would never imagine.
So I had already had plans to scale the business back, and I presented everything to the whole crew, and it was their choice. I didn't force anybody to correct their status, but I did let them know that they would be compensated in cash, and what they did with their compensation for their participation here at the Idaho Falls Plumbing Company was their business, and it's not mine. Okay, and that's up to them. I'm gonna run this operation the way I see fit, because I'm an American and I'm in charge of my own destiny here, and I don't need anybody poking around in my business for any reason. So, and all my guys were really receptive. I think almost all of them but one had corrected their status. And then, no, I had a couple guys that weren't 21 years old yet, but nevertheless, so it went over pretty smooth. I didn't really have much pushback from it. And, it was just kind of like a light switch. We flipped that light switch and we were done. I was done that day that I dissolved my corporation. I was done. I've never paid another dime in taxes to the state tax commission, the federal government, the Department of Labor. I was done.
It's wonderful. And that writing that or filling out that whole dissolution is the most fun, isn't it?
Right. But I did learn. I mean, I'm the first one, to my knowledge, that's ever even done this on Idaho. I mean, I don't know if there's other people in other states. Of course you have. But one thing, so we learned a few things along the way that, we just dissolved the corporation. Of course, I had all my 928 documents done, my revocation of election, my notice of retirement, my fee schedule, my attestation of domicile in the form of an affidavit affixed to with an affixed W-8. And I'll send you copies of those.
Okay, yeah. Instead of the W-8 thing, our certificate of assumed name kind of covers all of that, makes us the banker.
Right.
And so if you know how to use that document, you really don't have to do any of that other. And we did it. I did it instead of what you're talking. I mean, well, look, You did something very similar, but I did a testimony in the form of an affidavit, and it went unrebutted. And then because they left it unrebutted, then I followed up and told them that now this is judgment and law.
Right.
And so,
but so traditionally, when you do business on Idaho, you're going to have contractors and companies and stuff that you do work for. They're going to ask you for a certificate of general liability insurance. They're going to ask you for your workman's comp. And then they're going to ask you for a W-9. And I think that's pretty much how it is in most states. But in lieu of a W-9, you're going to give them the attestation of domicile in the form of an affidavit. And then at the back of that document is an affixed W-8.
Excellent. Okay. This is important. I want to see that. I want to have that because we got guys here right now that need this.
This document has to be filled out properly.
Correct.
It's gotta have the unincorporated.
Right. You're going to scan these in and send them to me so I can have them so we can talk about it.
Send them. So when you're doing business out there in the everyday world with the average U.S. citizen that doesn't know anything about what you're talking about, this is an important document because that W-8 is called Certificate of Foreign Status right at the top of it. I am foreign to what they are doing, so I have to have this Certificate of Foreign Status affixed with my attestation of domicile. So that's what I have to provide for them in lieu of that W-9. I also have, in the case of a general liability insurance, living men and women do not insure, okay? We indemnify. And so my justice and we tag team this together and we come up with our own certificate of indemnification right here. See, kind of our little old fancy certificate that we came up with here.
Wonderful. Okay, I want to share that, and then I'll share with you what I have too, because I made up one of my own. And then when I was on Alaska, then I found something over there that I want to share with you too.
Right.
But all of these documents, we need to share them with as many people and let everyone see how they can do it. But yes, because you're the creator of the law.
Right.
Let's go.
So I created my own document with my justice. This is a certificate of indemnification. And it says here, now I did all my documents and I was able to get them recorded in the de facto system. And so mine says as a matter recorded on Butte County, Arco, Idaho, associated with the deed of reconveyance and certificate of assumed names on instrument number 61317. All names under the public document are indemnified against harm or loss per private indemnity bond number, and then my indemnity bond number that we get from Anna that we can use. And so they can look up all my documents by using that instrument number, and it's on the public record. And there's my indemnification number. So if there's a problem, they can make their claim with the U.S. Treasury. I'm indemnified, and this 100%. Is a superior document to any general liability insurance. We're living men and women. We don't insure.
That's right. And it actually covers way more.
Right.
It covers everything that they need to have, and it's a lot. It's a much better way to create remedy in the event that there was an accident and you caused some accidental harm or had a problem or something. So 100%.
Right.
That's important. That's a piece that I don't need something like that for what I do, but this is important for all the tradesmen to have.
Right. So those are two really important documents that you're going to have, and you'll prove. Now, it doesn't mean just because you have these documents, you have to understand, just because you have those documents doesn't mean that they have to accept them. Okay. They have a choice. They don't have to accept them, and a lot of people won't.
They'll
And
contest it, but the more you exercise it, the more common it becomes. And you're creating the common law by
right,
exercising it.
right. Well, and the other thing that I carry, so I have my membership agreement. This is the membership agreement that my customers have. They've got to circle whether they're a man or a woman, and then agree to act in honor. And if they violate the agreement, it's a fine of $100,000 plus $100 a minute for every minute that the trespass continues. We have our own national government, the Idaho Assembly, the public law. I carry a copy of the Idaho public law with the instrument number, and that's a certified copy from the de facto. I carry that with me everywhere I go. So I've got all my documents with me. And my membership to receive plumbing services is free. I don't charge anything for it. They just have to agree to abide by the membership agreement, and then we're there to provide service and counseling. If they just want to know something about plumbing, just sign a private membership. I'll share my knowledge with you. I might charge you a little bit of time to come out and look at the job or whatever, but we are the value. And some people, plumbers are expensive. Plumbing parts are expensive, and we charge a healthy amount for what we do. But you know what? Your attorney charges $200, $300, $400 an hour, and they don't guarantee anything. But I'll charge what I charge, and I'll guarantee my results 100%. The value lies here. I'm not here to cause you problems. I'm here to help you with the issues that you have.
That's right.
And
hey, indoor plumbing is a big deal.
Yeah.
And buckets of water are heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the documents that I use. And then as far as compensation, that's a private matter between me and my private members, and it's nobody's business to come in and try to poke their nose in a private deal. So when it comes to that, no way. In fact, when we unincorporated and dissolved the corporation with the Secretary of State, there were some road bumps. So they don't really talk to each other. The Idaho Department of Labor doesn't talk with the Secretary of State, and they don't talk with the State Tax Commission. There are all these little departments. So we dissolved with the Secretary of State, and then all of a sudden, 6 or 8 months later, I get lien notices in the mail from the state tax. Well, no, the Idaho State Tax Commission. They froze my bank accounts, and I couldn't pay my guys or do anything. So
can I pause you there for 1 second? I just want to go back real quick before we move on to the fact that they don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
Okay. They can't talk to each other because they're all criminals.
Right.
It's all a big fraud scheme. And so they all got to keep everything compartmentalized in an effort to not incriminate each other. So this is something important for everyone to know, because they want to come and hold us to some kind of higher standard, but they don't even hold these people to any standard.
Right.
When you're talking about someone coming into your business and trying to tell you what Chad Morgan's going to do, why aren't they telling the state of North Carolina or whomever? All these people, the COURT, the all caps COURT, that's not even a real thing. It's not even proper English. Yeah. This is an important piece for everyone to just take note of right here. That none of them know what's going on. And as long as they remain compartmentalized, they don't have to take any responsibility. But we, living men, we don't have rights. We have responsibilities because we're self-governing.
Right.
We don't have rights. We have responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so in business, it's a lot harder to do what we're doing because we have to operate in truth and fact and honor and be responsible. And we have to take that extra responsibility for everyone we work with. Reasons why I'm sure, Chad, that you don't want to hear what anybody has to tell you about how you're going to pay whoever or do whatever. And I won't either, because don't come tell me how to run my business or I don't even want to hear what your thoughts are about it. Either you participate or you don't, because you don't know what I'm carrying or what I'm responsible for. And you will not tell me what I will be responsible for. I will only decide that. And same for you, because that's the part of our free will choice, on the matter, correct?
Correct. Yep.
All right, I yield back to you.
Yeah. Anyway, so they they leaned to my bank accounts, and thankfully I had a sheriff, a soil jurisdiction sheriff here on Bonneville County. So I called up my soil jurisdiction sheriff. I said, Kenny, it's time to go to work. Put your cowboy hat on. Grab your documents. We're going to go have a visit with some people down at the Idaho State Tax Commission. So we did. We grabbed all of my documents, and I grabbed my acceptance of public office and my attestation of acceptance of public office as the Bonneville County chairman. And we went down to the State Tax Commission, and I met with Gary Baines, who was the collector, and his supervisor, the program supervisor. His name was Mike. I forget his last name. One of the things I asked them when I walked in there, they took us back into a room had video cameras in it. We had all of our documents, and I introduced myself, and I said, Mike, are you educated in the matter of law? And I kind of already knew that he was. And he said, yeah, I am, as a matter of fact. And I said, great. I'm the soil jurisdiction chairman on Bonneville County. Here's my attestation and acceptance of office. Kenny? Kenny says, hi, I'm Kenny Papasan. He's my Bonneville County soil jurisdiction sheriff. He showed him his office, acceptance of office too. And I said, you trespassed against me, and I'm giving you a chance to make it right. You've seized upon assets that are not yours to seize upon. You're operating under presumptions that I'm somebody who I'm not. I'm the living man, and I'm sitting right in front of you right now, and I'm letting you know you crossed the line. And he looked at our documents. He took all my documents back, and he asked to copy them. I said, you're welcome. Go right ahead. They're on the public record, but you can copy them whatever you want. They left, and he came back. They were out of the room for about 10 or 15 minutes, and he came back in the room, handed me all my documents, and handed Kenny all his documents. And he apologized and says this will be taken care of immediately. And then we left and went back to the bank. And before I got back to the bank, they had released my funds. And my banker lady told me, I can't believe what you just did. I have never had them release liens that fast ever. So anyway, and then
we're unalienable. We're unalienable.
Yeah. Yeah. But you've got to have your documents in order. I mean, you've got to know what you're doing, and you've got to be following grandma. Grandma's given us all the information. And, I see a lot of other people quoting all these things, and they're state nationals here and there, but they're not part of their assembly. They're not listening to Grandma. I just keep telling everybody, you've got to follow what the information that Grandma's given us. And so that's just what I've done. And I've not been afraid to stand up and tell these people what the truth is, And so we had the exact same thing happen with the Idaho Department of Labor. I was sharing that with you earlier, and we still do. So my private membership, you have to have an authorized agent for the corporation or company. If I'm doing business with a corporation or company, We can do that, but they have to have an authorized agent that is allowed, or someone to represent that corporation sign or autograph the membership agreement. And then they have to pay us with a credit card immediately when the service is done.
This is a good thing to point out. So you can operate with corporations, but you want obviously a living man to take personal responsibility so that they have to take responsibility and, under perjury,
Right,
like, and that's awesome. That's fantastic. And
right.
so, well, why do they feel, or why do you think they want to work with you and just not go with any other plumber guy who?
It's very simple. I'm the best plumber in town. It's that simple. I know what I'm doing, and they're willing to pay me for it. As a matter of fact, Niti, I have my business attorney, my ex-business attorney. We're still friends. We're still friends, and I send him copies of my paperwork, and I send him stuff all the time. He signed a private membership agreement with me, and he still uses my services. He knows that he's dealing with a living man and not a corporation.
Right.
We have a great relationship, working relationship. I do plumbing for him whenever he wants it, but he's got to operate in my jurisdiction.
Right.
And
Hey, I try to tell the plumbers and the electricians here on North Carolina, I'm like, yo, they need water.
right,
They need plumbing. They need electricity. They need these things. And I don't want anyone out there in YouTube land to believe that we condone um ignorance of proper education for anyone who's doing these trades, because America was built on skilled tradesmen. And I've never met a tradesman who isn't really big, number one, on safety, number two, on, the efficacy of whatever it is that they're doing, and proficiency. What are your thoughts on that, Chad?
the quality of your craftsmanship will determine your level of success. If you're a shitty plumber, you're not going to get anybody calling you. If you're good at what you do, you're not going to have a problem getting work. 99% of all the people that are calling to have a water heater changed out or this or that, they just want the job done, and they want it done in a timely manner, and they want it done professionally. If you do that, they're going to jump online and they're going to give you a good review. That's your reputation. I've been doing this for 25 years, Niti. You know how many customers that I've actually asked to see my license and my insurance?
Zero.
Yeah. I've never had a private, not that I can think of offhand. I don't ever remember any private homeowner asking, let me see your license. Let me see your insurance. Well, I've got a whole fleet of trucks that have wraps on them out there. They kind of don't need to. They already know I'm a legitimate guy in town. So I don't have anybody asking. I've already established myself in the community. So we just need to remember what Grana tells us. We are the value. We are the value. I am the value. When it comes to plumbing, I don't need permission to do what I know how to do.
No, that's just like my hairdresser. I'm not going to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, or anyone who has been doing. I got my plumber that I have is fantastic. Also, I really want him to. I'm gonna send him this video because I really want him to unincorporate.
Right.
He's killing himself trying to meet these minimums and all this other stuff. And he's doing it because of all the corporate framework. And he doesn't have to, because he's so good at what he does.
Right.
You know?
I have a really good relationship with the state, most of the state plumbing inspectors and stuff like that. And I will tell you, I still have my plumbing contractor's license.
Oh.
I renewed it 3 years ago. it's still good. It's coming up on renewal, and all I have to do is pay $75 to renew it. And I give my private members an option to pull a permit. Would you like a permit? Would you like me to pull a permit? No, yes, whatever. This is a private deal. If you want one, I'll pull one. I'm going to plumb it properly regardless, but you know, most of what we do is just repair and service anyway. Most of it doesn't require a permit, but I do have that. I don't receive federal income, so I can keep that license if I want, but I don't require. I don't take any federal income or anything, you know. You're muted, Needy.
I was saying when it expires, you can always just show them that you had one and
Yeah.
you don't want to renew it because you don't need their permission.
Right.
And then you can just say, do you think I need permission? And then, you know, I would even, since you have such a great relationship with the folks downtown or in your, you know, whatever, whoever's handing the permits out, I would say, well, if I was licensed for 20 years already, did you think I forgot what I was doing?
Yeah. And I've just given my customers an option to have a permit if they want one, because I still have the license. If they want to pay for it, I'll get it for them. But see, here's the other thing around that, because I'm planning on doing that anyway, just letting it expire once it's up. But here's the other thing: the homeowner can pull their own permit. Any homeowner on any state can pull, if they want a permit, they can pull it. And if they're a part of a private membership of a group of plumbers that provide service and knowledge and help for people out there, yeah, they can pull a plumbing permit and we can come help them do it.
Sure. I mean, I bet that for a fee, you could take their paperwork down there for them and handle it on their behalf, probably.
Yeah, I could show them how to jump online and do it. It's enough. There's ways around this. There's ways to navigate around this, and I'm willing to figure out those ways. And haven't been, you know. And I've talked to a lot of trade workers around Idaho here. You know, the one thing that really kind of gets to me is the fear aspect of it. There's so many of these people.
They're so afraid.
They're fearful, and this is not for people who walk in fear. Who is the father of fear? Satan. Satan is the father of fear. So if fear is what's holding you back, you know who you're serving. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't. There's nothing to be afraid of. And Grandma's teaching us how to do this walk, and I've been doing it, and I've had my problems. I'll say I've had my roadblocks, but someone's got to figure it out.
Well, you're showing us one path, which is very important. I see a lot of comments in here about other things that, you know, everybody want to create their fear-mongering problems. But we're going to keep coming back every week with more solutions to all of these trade problems, because there are more solutions. There's always a way.
Right.
There's always a way. You just have to decide how much of a slave that you're going to be.
Right. Well, I'm plumbing, and there's only two things I need to pay attention to: being a good plumber and doing the job right, and making sure my bank account looks good. Everything else is none of anybody's business. Period.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And as long as nobody's got water all over the floor,
right,
and it's going where it's supposed to go, everybody's happy.
Yep.
Everybody's happy.
Right.
Well, if anybody out there has questions for Chad, I'd like to see those in the comments. And that's what we're talking about here today. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the many coming weeks, because we have to get America back on track with real unincorporated businesses Where, all of this phony baloney nonsense is going out the door. And we need, people don't realize most of the things that you actually have to have in life is going to come from a tradesman or a tradeswoman.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real substantial stuff. All the other things that people are doing for work, it's the lies. It's the phony baloney nonsense out there. People are like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, okay, all the people in insurance gone. I mean, we don't need any of that.
At the end of the day, can the insurance guy stand back and take a look at his beautiful work and admire it? It's the trade work. It's the trades. I can stand back when I'm done at trimming out a beautiful shower with body sprays and tile and just admire the work. In fact, I just did a towel warmer in a bathroom.
Oh.
Where I run the hot water lines through a series of pipes that come out of the wall.
Wow.
Polished them up so the plumbing pipes are really beautiful where they come out the wall. And the water from the water heater heats up the towel, so when you get out, you grab your warm towel and it doesn't take any electricity or anything, just the hot water running through the polished pipes on the outside of the shower. Looks cool. It was just an idea, and it's one of the showpieces in the bathroom now. So
wonderful.
We are the value. We create beautiful things. All the trade workers out there.
Yeah.
You unleash your potential. You're being held back just by the restraints that you're being held under from all these regulatory agencies and all that you need permission, the tax commission, all that money that you're just shelling out and you don't have to.
Right. And it's boring and it looks boring. I mean, like everything you're talking about is this is the tapestry that we want to unleash out on America so that it'll be amazing to see what these people come up with. I mean,
just think of all the energy that's wasted on the stress from
right.
taxes and the stress from everybody that you happen to answer to. If you could focus all that energy into your creative
mind,
and coming up with cool ideas and new things, and I mean, the sky is the limit, but we're being held back, and we've all got to just take a deep breath and realize that it's already all gone, you guys. This whole system is already being dismantled. It's just time to let it all go.
Yeah. You just have to know who you are,
right.
and know how to articulate that. And, Chad, I thank you so much for joining me today and demonstrating how you did that. And it's not hard. It's not complex because we're simple people.
Right.
With simple, we don't have a lot of words that we're not used to using a whole lot of words, honestly.
No.
We express most of our stuff with our hands.
Right. And that's another thing, these agencies have taken these trades. I just want to share this because it's something that's weighed heavy on my heart since I've entered the trades. When we were setting up for this meeting, I was telling you that I'm not good with keyboards and tech. I'm good with my hands. And so I had my wife get everything set up for our podcast here so I could join you. They've done that to the trade workers. I have met so many young kids that would be just awesome plumbers, awesome electricians, carpenters. But you know what? They won't do it now because you have to go, all your schooling is done online. These guys are, I joined the plumbing industry, the trade industry, because I didn't have to sit at a cubicle or at a computer to learn how to plumb. And I see all these kids. We have a major shortage of good trade workers right now. Most people are aware of this. Niti, that's one of the biggest reasons. I've heard it over and over and over from young kids who I see that are very talented, that could be really good plumbers, but the second they find out they have to get an account set up online, or they go to school 1 or 2 days and they realize that this isn't for them, they're not going to be able to cut 4 years of school at a technical college and learn everything on a computer. No, that's not where you learn how to plumb. You learn
No.
how to plumb on the job site with the
Mhm.
softball in your hand, a can of glue, with your torch and your solder. You learn how to do that on the job. That's not something that you can push a button on a computer screen and learn how to do.
Well, I have a solution coming for that.
Yeah.
I have another guy who we're going to speak with, and he's going to be teaching about a solution for that. And what about you, Chad? I know that you don't necessarily want to grow your plumbing business, but what about your educational hub?
As far as plumbing knowledge,
Yeah, do you want to teach?
I would be interested in maybe teaching some of the younger kids about plumbing. And
Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean, I don't know what you think about it. I'm just going to put this little bug in your ear that I know some other guys are doing here.
mhm,
And what they're doing is they have chosen to have, like, two guys or three guys, and they're calling them helpers, and they come on green, and they're just, your hands
yeah,
on a job. And, I know as a mom, my son wanted to get involved, and, we would have to pay for his education.
right,
So if he's not getting paid, it doesn't matter. And if I don't have to pay for it on top of that, it's even better. But even if I paid you a little something, it's
yeah,
better than me putting that money into a university where he's not going to know how to do anything by the time it's all over with.
right,
So, watch one, do one, teach one.
right, yeah.
And little by little, it doesn't have to be a bunch, you know, but if everyone like yourself were to have somebody for a little time, the thing that's awesome about that is they get to learn everything about Chad and what does Chad Morgan do and how does Chad Morgan do it. And then when they work with maybe the next guy, if they work with different guys, 3 to 6 months at a time, you know, then they learn all the best things of all of these men.
Yeah,
You can't buy that anywhere.
no. That's how I learned how to do what I do. I rode with a journeyman plumber, and I
Mhm.
sat in the co-pilot seat, and I followed him everywhere I went, and I
Mhm.
watched him use the tools, and then he would hand me the tools and do this, do that, go get me this tool. You learn by learning the tools and
Mhm.
different fittings and fixtures, and you just learn one day at a time, and it's very satisfying. But yeah, I'm open to figuring out how to change up the education system as far as teaching uh, the younger generation on how to plumb, and how this stuff goes together. So
Well, I think I want to build a registry, or not a registry, a roster of gentlemen like yourself, and then we can, I just want to be able to connect you guys with other people. And, hopefully they're going to be coming to you for business. They're going to come to you for education if that's what you're open for.
yeah,
And maybe you do help them online with some course just to get it set up.
yeah,
Because I think it would be nice. I think a lot of folks would appreciate having their hand held through that process, even if it's just, I mean, it doesn't have to be just for Idaho. It could be for anywhere. And I'm putting that call out here right now on YouTube. And what do you think about that, Chad? Are you in agreement? You object to that? Is that okay?
No, I think it's a good idea. I think we need to play around with this. I mean, even if it's just getting some guys together and having little YouTube bites of how to do things, how to educate people. The
Yes.
American Plumbing Institute, the American Plumbing Education, something.
Yeah, we need it to be a little more real and a little less institutional.
Right.
We don't want it to be institutional strength. We want it to be American built. So, you said something about Harleys and some smoke, and what were you talking about?
Well, so I own the Idaho Falls Plumbing Company.
Right.
And I've always been into Harleys and motorcycles. And at one point, Needy, I will tell you, I've been offered a prospect cut from an outlaw motorcycle club. And after the 2020 election, I did accept that prospect cut. And when I joined that biker group, I took in a copy of the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. And they were all encased in barnwood with glass and lights in them. And I gifted them to the club, and I said, I will take this prospector cut under the condition that everybody in this house is as serious about this as I am, because every one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence were willing to give up everything for their freedom. And because I thought that it was going to take the outlaws to get shit back in line with this country. This is before I knew who Anna was, right? So
now you know that you can just do it with a pen now that you know.
I no longer ride with the club. I'm still good friends with them, and we've parted our ways. But I found Anna, and I've been totally focused in on the assemblies ever since then. Just with laser focus, just trying to. This is the peaceful way to do it, right? Before I was ready to just whoop ass. I can't hear you.
I said we've already bled. All the bleeding is done. We're standing at peace. We already bled. And so we have a question about, must we do 928s to start a business in the private? I mean, I don't know why nobody does the whole 928. It's not mandatory, but as a business owner, I use every single one of those documents on a regular basis. And so if you really start comprehending, when you start diving deep into the paperwork and knowing what it is that Anna has gifted us, she and the living law firm made you the priority creditor. They made you the banker. And that one certificate of assumed name document alone is, I think, absolutely essential for every business owner. But the acts of expatriation, the cancellation of all prior attorneys, how do you do it without those two? I don't know, because I made sure. What do you think?
Okay, so the short answer is no, you don't have to. But in the interest of protecting what is yours and your intellectual property, your business, your name, you need to claim that. And that needs to be on the record on the land. And so you really should be serious about doing those 928s. And the other thing too is those 928s are there as your protection. That's your armor. If you have all your 928 documents done, that's how I've been able to function the way I've been able to function. And they tuck tail and run. Every time I notice them or put them in their place, I have the documentation to back it all up. Your 928s, I guess I didn't realize how valuable they were until I started using them, and
Right.
I was
Hey,
able to get my money. They release the liens. You send these documents registered mail to the people that are trespassing against you. They'll do an about face. They know
oh,
who you are.
oh yeah, they know me. Shoot,
Yeah,
if you're running a business and you're exercising that 928, I mean, it takes time to learn. So maybe I just we just need to start going over each document in the way of like, why do you want this for your business? Maybe I don't really know,
right,
because I use them all day long. And a lot of folks study all these various forms of remedy
right.
that's out there. There's a lot, you can learn a lot of equity remedy. Nothing Nothing is more powerful than coming outside of the corporate veil and standing over it. Because when you're doing that remedy, it's all UCC remedy and it's all under the corporate veil. Why should I lower myself to a nothing dead corporate fiction when I am a living woman?
You know, it has nothing to do with us. It's a way. I spend my time playing with my kids and plumbing. Why am I going to waste my time trying to educate myself in a foreign system? I'm an American. It's that simple. I don't need anybody's permission. I do have my 928s on, and I know how to use them now. And there's extensions to those 928s. Your revocation of election and your other documents that you use for business. But man, you're going to want those. I mean, you can start your business, but if they start coming after you, you better have a way to back up what you're doing, and that's what that package is for. You know,
It's
I'm
your receipts that, Anna doesn't just, you're going to be contested. If you're in business doing something, and you are operating unregulated in this way, you will be contested. But
right.
you can stand on it. You have to comprehend how and why and what those are for and how to apply them. And so these conversations, I love that I'm able to speak with you, Chad. I'd love to be able to call you sometimes and talk to you about different things, because in business, there's always something that comes up. And it's like, hey, brother, did you ever have to deal with something like this? And, what do you think? Because I was thinking I might could do blah, blah, blah. What do you? And we have to start exercising this on Moss.
Yeah. One thing I will put out there though too, because I know this is a question that will probably come up with people as they consider taking their business private, and it's one thing that I didn't really have to mess with because I knew the banks were corrupt before I ever even found Anna or the assemblies. And from the first day that I incorporated my business back in 2004, I have never taken a loan out from the bank from for my business. I'm a plumber. I have my hand tools. I got my truck. I just started working out of the back of my truck. So everything that I've purchased over the years, I've never pulled out a loan in my business name. I've always
Yeah, me too.
I've cash flowed everything since day one. And so that's probably a good point to bring up to everybody. If you're tangled up in contracts and with the banks and you've got all this funding from the banks, you're probably not going to be able to just dissolve your corporation. You have obligations that you have to take care of. So
100%. But I don't know if you've experienced this, Chad, but in my experience, I indemnified myself
right,
with just stacking gold and silver.
right,
And so I knew what risk I was taking, how much risk I wanted to cover, how much I wanted to mitigate immediately, and I started stacking that up, and it was my monthly insurance payment to myself,
right,
and once I felt like I had enough to cover it, then I just held it. And then that was just my indemnification money.
right.
And I always, and funnily, now that's worth way a lot more than what it was.
We really
Like
You bought gold and silver like Grandma was telling you, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Greta said this, and I was like, when I did that, do you know, even in 2 short years,
Right,
you will more than triple that money. But it is still the same amount of money. It's still the same little thing, whatever it was. And it's just sitting there. And I won't touch it for nothing. That is my emergency indemnification money if I need it. If all else fails, if they can't go against the indemnity bond, if whatever doesn't work, and it comes back to me, I can still honor my word. I can still be responsible. And at this point, it is so far beyond the amount that I wanted to make sure I had coverage for.
right.
And the best part is if nobody uses it in the next 10, 15, 11, whatever, how many years, it's just going to be more and more valuable, or it's definitely not going to regress or depreciate.
Right.
So,
No, Jamie and I have done the same thing for the last, well, I started buying silver back when it was $15, $17 an ounce.
right.
And really, I haven't bought any since it got up to about 30. But yeah, we were able to pay our home off and all of our debt and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just with a fraction of what we had stashed. And now we look at silver. I mean, it hit 120 and then it's pulled back, but you're going to see it skyrocket. You're going to see silver hit, $2,000 or $3,000 and probably not too distant future. I mean,
Right. I mean, all of these things. Okay, hold on. This is a good question. So, I had asked Anna about this, and you can. I only use the bank for money to come in, but it's coming into my personal name. The bigger deal is not that it's a commercial bank; it's that it's not under the business, which was dissolved.
so
And also, I keep using my social because they gave it to me.
Needy, I would recommend number one, bank with a credit union. I use a local credit union here in Idaho.
I have one.
Yeah, and I have an account that's the Idaho Falls Plumbing Company, and then I've also got a personal account, and I've had that account there for 25 years. Now, when they froze my bank accounts, I took all my status correction documents into my credit union. And so they have all my status correction documents scanned in and uploaded, so they know who I am. And I haven't had a problem. They cash the checks. I only use that bank account to cash the checks that I get from my customers. And even if they were to turn it off, it's okay because this is a private membership and I can decline checks. I accept silver, I accept gold, I accept cash and checks. And if they say that I can't use those checking accounts, that's fine.
Yeah.
Media have a lot of customers that pay. I've been paid thousands and thousands of ounces of silver from customers over the years.
I can do all these same things, and I don't need to do it either. And
Yeah.
I do exactly what you're saying. And
Yeah.
every piece of dollar or anything that comes through there, it gets pushed out either right back out,
Yeah.
or it goes into comes right back out in as silver. So
Uh-huh.
all of it is coming out just like that immediately. And so, and also, people will use like Cash App or something to give me stuff sometimes, and it just comes right back out. I mean, nothing is sitting in a bank. How about that?
Right. Yeah. Same here. I'll go deposit what I need to deposit in there to cover any bills, and then the balance stays next to nothing.
Mine's been like that for 10 years.
Well, whatever's in that bank account, your pants are down. Someone will come get it sooner or later. So, and of course, Anna's talked about the bank bail-ins. If it's not in your hand physical, you don't own it.
Right. And the same with the silver. If I never did it where I didn't have it in my hands,
Mm-hmm.
I never had it where, whatever. And we just keep it moving. And also energy likes to move. It doesn't want to be stuck somewhere anyway. So yeah, we just keep it going. And do you give discounts for silver?
Absolutely. Yep. Anybody that pays with silver will offer about a 10% discount just right off the top. If you want to pay in silver or gold, we'll do that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I want to honor your time, and we've been going for more than an hour, and I appreciate you. I know it's really fast, right?
Yeah.
But will you come back and talk with us again sometime, Chad?
Anytime, Edie. I'd love to. Yeah.
I really, really appreciate you so much. And hey, friends, anybody out there who's doing anything in the trades, who wants to talk about it, please get in touch with me. All my contact information is in the show notes. We need to get Americans back to work doing things like Americans were always meant to do. Nobody on America should be in a position where they can't earn an honest living, doing honest work, and operating in honor and enjoying, their life, and pursuing happiness. And the best part is we get to control everything, and we're creating our own reality all the time.
For us to be the boss, we are the boss.
That's right.
We don't need permission. We own this. We are the value.
Let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it, everybody. And so I'll see you guys next week. I think I am going to, by the way, keep this 4:00 slot because it works a lot better for everybody who I'm dealing with that is working. And so I'll see you guys next Thursday at 4:00, and we're going to keep continuing this line of topics. And maybe we'll bring Chad back sometime soon, and we can go over a little bit more detail on some of the documents and some of these other things. Let's see what people say, Chad. Everybody ask us questions. Anyone who's watching, leave us questions and things like that on YouTube, and then let us know what it is that you want to know, and we can expound, and we'll bring it forward for everybody. Okay. Anything else you want to say before we go?
We may not have the answers, but together we'll figure this out. I know I don't have all the answers, but I'm not afraid to find them. So I'm in here with all of you guys. I'm just trying to plow ahead and clean up all the crap.
So. Let's do it. Let's do it, guys. Let's have fun. Let's have fun. Yep. Thank you, everybody.